Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 72 based on novel. So let's start. Palace Master Yuan was watching from a distance. He could only see a huge dark world and it was difficult for him to get a glimpse of what was happening inside. Suddenly, a sword light pierced through the membrane wall of the dark world and escaped in an instant. When Palace Master Yuan saw this, he was somewhat surprised. Just after the fight, Great Sage Biyun ran away. Among the Chaos Realm transcendents of the Origin continent, even in a one-on-one fight, there were only a handful of people who could force the Great Sage Biyun to flee. Not to mention that this time the Great Sage Yangsu and the Lord of the Wild Wind City escaped. The Great Sage Biyun, who had fled to a very far distance, breathed a sigh of relief. She also glanced at Palace Master Yuan. Great Sage Biyun. Mansion Master Yuan said politely. Whether in terms of individual strength or background, Great Sage Biyun was stronger than him. Brother Yuan, you are really wise. Biyun, Great Sage said, if you get involved, this true body will probably be gone. Palace Master Yuan was surprised. What happened in this dark world of Great Sage Biyun? Where are Great Sage Yangsu and Lord Huang Feng? The Great Sage Biyun shook his head and said, this blood spirit golden pearl has nothing to do with us anymore. After saying this, she disappeared into the world. Palace Master Yuan was secretly shocked. He looked at the vast dark world in the distance. From the reaction of Great Sage Biyun, he could infer some information. It seems to be one-sided. 3 against 1, but they were swept away. Palace Master Yuan knew the approximate result and did not wait any longer. The Blood Spirit Gold Pearl mission has ended for us. He left quietly. In the vast dark world, only Luo Feng and the Lord of Huangfeng City are left. The Thunder Ancient Kingdom and the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom are evenly matched, and the entire Thunder Ancient Kingdom royal family mainly cultivates the Han Yuan bloodline. Luo Feng looked at the huge Lord of Desolate Wind City. The royal family of Yangfeng Ancient Country also cultivated the Han Yuan bloodline. However, the threshold of Yangfeng Ancient Country was higher. Normally, one had to become a god king and go through many examinations before starting the path of Han Yuan bloodline. According to the information Luo Feng had learned, several of the 13 generals of the Yangfeng Kingdom were practicing the Han Yuan bloodline, which shows the appeal of the Han Yuan bloodline. For example, the Lord of Huangfeng City could only be considered as an entry-level person in the Han Yuan bloodline system, the weakest level. As for Chu Yuan who was beaten into liquid by Luo Feng, he could not even be considered as an entry-level person. Cut. Luo Feng watched as the Lord of Desolate Wind City thought of something, and 300,000 black rivers turned into black sword lights, and all the dense black sword lights performed the sword river slash. Boom! The endless black blade light destroyed everything, and even the membrane wall of the cage world had many fine cracks. With such a terrifying power, the Lord of Desolate Wind City completely endured it and was unable to dodge it. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The body of the host of Huangfeng City was covered with dense wounds, as if it had been cut into pieces by thousands of knives, and its surface was covered with blue blood. But when the power of the sword passed, the countless wounds on the body of the host of Huangfeng City healed naturally. My skin is broken and bleeding. The Lord of Desolate Wind City laughed. Luo He, I admit that your power is very strong. It's a pity that I didn't lose a single drop of my divine power. Luo Feng also discovered this. When the physical body is cultivated to the level of the Lord of Wild Wind City, it is only superficial flesh wounds, and in fact there is no loss at all. Only when part of the flesh and blood is completely annihilated will the reserve of divine power be lost. I advise you not to waste your energy. The Lord of Huangfeng City was very confident, but he was caught in the endless black river and could not resist, so he kept approaching Luo Feng. I'd like to give it a try. Luo Feng looked at the Lord of Huangfeng City. 300,000 sword lights performed the River of Swords long-range attack, which contained many mysteries and was extremely sharp, even creating tiny cracks in the membrane wall of the cage. But when Luo Feng fights in close combat, he can mobilize nearly 10 billion black rivers. It is pure power. Luo Feng thought and took all the endless black rivers into his body. He even took back most of the black rivers that merged into the dark world. He only used 1 billion black rivers to maintain the dark world. The more black rivers merged, the stronger it became. 1 billion black rivers were enough to seal off most of the Chaos Realm transcendence. The Lord of Huangfeng City looked at the surrounding black rivers rushing towards Luo Feng rapidly, and he himself was also swept up and approached rapidly. Suddenly, Luo Feng, whose body grew rapidly, stretched out his hand and grabbed the neck of the approaching Lord of Desolate Wind City. Luo Feng now possesses the power of nearly 9 billion black rivers. Open. The Lord of Desolate Wind City struggled and even swung out his arms, but Luo Feng's arm was unshakable and just held onto the Lord of Desolate Wind's neck. My life is broken. Luo Feng grabbed the neck of the Lord of Desolate Wind City with his left hand, and inserted the 5 fingers of his right hand directly into the Lord of Desolate Wind City's body. Luo Feng felt that the body of the Lord of Desolate Wind was extremely tough. Most of Luo Feng's strength was naturally absorbed by his skin, but in the end, Luo Feng's fingers still pierced into his flesh and blood. The flesh and blood layer was a stronger obstacle, like countless ropes entangled in resisting Luo Feng. Inside was a layer of bone armor, which was densely packed. Luo Feng's 5 fingers seemed to be piercing through a weapon's secret treasure, forcibly piercing through part of the bone armor and finally stopping. Feng's arm pierced most of the body of the Lord of Huangfeng City and he could no longer move forward. Too tough. Luo Feng was surprised. The Lord of Huangfeng City was even more surprised. He was stabbed in the middle of his body with his bare hands. He was a strong body with the Han Yuan bloodline. Boom! Tear! Luo Feng grabbed the neck of the Lord of Desolate Wind City with one hand, and with the other hand he used a knife, claws, or fist. Nearly 9 billion black rivers of power fully exploded, tearing the body of the Lord of Desolate Wind City apart again and again. Luo, how did you cultivate your physical body? I can be sure that you did not cultivate the Han Yuan bloodline, but how come your physical body is stronger than mine? The Lord of Huangfeng City still had the mood to ask while being beaten. Don't waste your energy. It may seem like I've been injured time and time again, but in fact, I haven't consumed a single drop of my divine power. The Lord of Desolate Wind City said as he was beaten. I can't beat you, but the vitality of the Han Yuan bloodline is beyond your imagination. Qi Feng stopped and nodded. Your body is indeed very tough. As he spoke, a huge blood shadow knife appeared out of thin air in Luo Feng's right hand. Knife? The Lord of Huangfeng City still didn't care. Cut. Luo Feng grabbed the neck of the Lord of Desolate Wind City with his left hand and threw him away. At the same time he swung his knife with his right hand. At this moment, the power of nearly 9 billion black rivers was condensed into one, and through this heavy and extremely sharp blood shadow knife, it hit the waist of the Lord of Huangfeng City. Thick skin, tough flesh, and bone armor. After being completely transformed by Master Chu, the blood shadow blade has the potential to become a weapon that can directly reach the ultimate level of the God King. Luo Feng's strength is concentrated on the blade, which is obviously much more terrifying than his bare hands. The waist of the Lord of Huangfeng City was completely cut off, and his body was split into 2. It's no use. What can you do? What? The Lord of Desolate Wind City widened his eyes. At this moment, a black river flew out from Luo Feng's body, and the black river immediately wrapped around the 2 broken parts of the body of the Lord of Desolate Wind City. After the body was split into 2, the power of each of them was decreasing. Cut. 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 Luo Feng swung the blood shadow knife continuously, slashing at the broken body of the Lord of Desolate Wind City. In just a blink of an eye, the Lord of Desolate Wind City was chopped into dozens of pieces of flesh and blood, and each piece of flesh and blood condensed into a meatball. Dozens of flesh lumps, still tough and full of endless vitality. Not to mention turning into a meatball. Even if I turn into meat paste or into small pieces, I still can't die. Ha 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 ha. Dozens of meatballs showed great power, and sounds were still heard. Dozens of huge lumps of flesh were still struggling, but they were all swept away by the Black River. After being chopped like this, it seems that his strength has not been lost at all. Luo Feng looked at the flesh balls. After being split into dozens of pieces, the resistance of each piece was greatly weakened. It feels like the resistance power of a person at the peak of Chaos Realm. I admire you for being able to chop my body into pieces, but you can't kill me. Even if you are several times stronger, you can't kill me. The voice of the Lord of Huangfeng City echoed around. The Han Yuan bloodline does have strong vitality. Luo Feng nodded and praised. Luo He, you can't suppress me all the time, right? Being distracted by suppressing me will also affect your practice. The Lord of Huangfeng City said. To practice, one needs to be focused and sufficiently concentrated. In order to use the Black River to suppress the Lord of Huangfeng City, one must always devote some of his energy to it, which will also affect his cultivation. So, you should just let me go. The Lord of Desolate Wind City persuaded, I am the one who offended you this time. If you let me go, I will give you 10 billion cosmic sands as compensation, okay? Let you go? Luo Feng said with a smile, your real body is a good thing. Even if the Lord of Huangfeng City takes the initiative to destroy this body, the weapons and treasures carried by his real body are still of great value. Moreover, Luo Feng knew very well that the true body of the Han Yuan bloodline was very important. If he voluntarily destroyed it, would it be very troublesome and costly to cultivate it back? Are you going to suppress me all the time? The Lord of Desolate Wind City began to struggle. Dozens of flesh and blood were struggling, and the might was quite terrifying. Luo Feng immediately suppressed them with Black River. If you keep distracting yourself to suppress them, how can you practice? Receive. Luo Feng used the Black River to wrap up the meatballs one by one and sent them all into the Star Tower. In one of the layers of the Star Tower, this layer of space was naturally divided into thousands of small spaces. Luo Feng threw dozens of meatballs into the small spaces. Suppress. The Star Tower has the ability to suppress and seal. Dozens of flesh balls were thrown in, twisting into the shapes of the Lords of Huangfeng City. Dozens of Lords of Huangfeng City looked around in astonishment. They could even see each other in other small spaces from a long distance, but they couldn't get close to each other. Open it for me. Dozens of Huangfeng City Lords attacked this small space frantically, but it was obvious that they could not shake it at all. The stability of the Star Tower was such that even Luo Feng could not shake it at all with all his strength. Luo Feng believed that this stability was definitely not something that a palace secret treasure of the first level of the Divine King could achieve. Now that the Lord of Desolate Wind had been split, his resistance was only at the peak level of chaos, and he could not resist any more. Let me out, let me out. Dozens of Huangfeng City Lords were extremely shocked and angry, but because of the confinement of the small space, their voices could not be heard. Is it a secret treasure of the Palace of the God King level? He actually has a secret treasure of the official Palace of the God King level? The Lord of Huangfeng City couldn't believe it. Even the great sage Bian only has one supreme weapon, the heaven-cutting sword. This God King level palace secret treasure is worth much more than even the lowest God King first level palace secret treasure. I was suppressed by him in the secret treasure of the God King palace, and he didn't need to pay attention to me at all. Am I going to be suppressed like this forever? The Lord of Huangfeng City knew that something was wrong. He originally thought that Luo He would not be able to keep suppressing him for a long time for the sake of cultivation, and would let him go in the end. Give up this body? The Lord of Desolate Wind City knew very well how much he had paid to cultivate this body of Han Yuan blood. He did not even have a God King level weapon, and almost all his resources were used on this body. Luo He, tell me, what conditions will allow you to let me go? The Lord of Desolate Wind City lowered his head. As long as I can do it, I will do it. How many treasures can you take out? Luo Feng's voice finally rang out. I'll try to gather some, and I can get 80 billion cosmic sands, said the Lord of Huangfeng City. 80 billion cosmic sands? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask, you are a Chaos Realm Transcendent, and you can only give out 10 billion cosmic sands? This is too poor. He himself offered a reward for perfect chaos layer biological materials and had prepared hundreds of billions of cosmic sands. The Lord of Huangfeng City felt aggrieved. Not long ago, he sold 12 blood spirit gold pearls to Liangjie Palace and earned 36 billion cosmic sands. If it weren't for this income, he wouldn't even be able to take out 80 billion cosmic sands. Practicing the Han Yuan bloodline consumes a lot of resources. The Lord of Huangfeng City said, 800 billion cosmic sands, I have already used up all of them. Then you can't get out. Luo Feng said. Are you kidding? 800 billion cosmic sands can only buy a most common Divine King level first level weapon. The Lord of Desolate Wind was silent when he wanted to exchange his flesh. He had another way. As a member of the royal family of the Thunder Ancient Nation, he could ask the royal family to help redeem him. But he would also need to pay back the price paid by the royal family in the future. Luo Feng stood beside the Blood Spirit Star, sensing the Lord of Desolate Wind City who was imprisoned in the Star Tower within his body. How can I release the Han Yuan bloodline body if there is not enough benefit? Luo Feng looked up at the Blood Spirit Star, and the flames of the Blood Spirit Star erupted. At this moment, 9 Blood Spirit golden beads flew out. It was wrapped in the dark world and sent to Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the 9 Blood Spirit golden beads floating above his palm. There is no opponent for this Blood Spirit Gold Pearl mission. Brother Chu Yu, I have done my best for you. Luo Feng smiled. Yangfeng Ancient Country, Chudu. Luo Feng also has an avatar living in Chudu, also carrying 100 million black rivers and some reserves of divine power. This clone is weaker than the real body, but still stronger than the great sage Bian and the Lord of Desolate Wind City. Luo He, I heard that you single-handedly defeated the 4 people including Bian Great Sage, Yuanxiu Mansion Lord, Huangfeng City Lord, and Yansu Great Sage, and took possession of the Blood Spirit Golden Pearl. A message came. Can you sell me the complete video information of you defeating the 4 of them? Dark Hall of the Flame Wind Guild Hall. Luo Feng was a little surprised because before he bought the intelligence, he had never experienced the whole process of the battle that just happened. Besides himself, it was Huangfeng Chengzhu who knew it best. The Lord of Huangfeng was from the royal family of the Thunder Country, Yangfeng Hall, and he probably didn't want to contact the Lord of Hornet. As the winner of this battle, I believe that Luo and you have the most comprehensive intelligence. Yangfeng Guild Hall Case sent a message to contact me. Yangfeng Guild Hall Case is willing to buy the complete image of the battle with 10 billion universe kills, and 20 billion universes. Luo Feng responded that Law Origin Continent can afford not many detailed intelligence, that is, the God Kings and a very small number of Chaos Stars. Only a few of them would buy or even exchange intelligence with each other. Yangfeng Pavilion responded to a strong man's purchase and then told several friends that Yangfeng Pavilion could not stop it, so 15 billion universes. Luo Feng took a step back and could not be less. Okay, then Yangfeng Hotel will be friends with Luo and Dasheng Jiao. Yangfeng was quite polite in the dark hall of the hotel. Luo Feng didn't know who contacted him because this was the official information of the case. However, anyone who dares to say that Yangfeng Pavilion and Luo Hidasheng are friends must be a senior member of Yangfeng Pavilion. These 15 billion universes are in Luo and your name. Okay, this is the complete video of the previous battle. Luo Feng did not hide it. If Yangfeng Hall really wanted to investigate, Yangsu would have a greater impact on the fighting process of the great sage Bian and the city lord Huangfeng, who had a more complete influence on his style of play. It would be better for him to make the money. In fact, Yangfeng Hall can also use time and space to trace the traces, but the cost is too high. It is better to spend some universes to kill the winner and buy it directly. Finally, I got my blood back. After Luo Feng mastered the secret method of the Trinity form, the task of rewarding perfect chaos layer biological materials in Yangfeng Hall was terminated, but the expenses were still quite high. In an illusory world, Luo He, Cloud, and Figures gathered, quite angry. I got 20 blood spirit gold beads from the Lord of Wild Wind City and Yangsu last time and gave them to Chu Changhu. The great sage Bian got 25 blood spirit gold beads, which was slightly more than Chu Changhu. His plan was to help Chu Changhu win the second Blood Spirit Gold Bead mission. According to his calculations, Chu Yinghu and Chu Changhu would be far ahead, and the other 5 first-class marquises would lag far behind. Now, the Blood Spirit Golden Pearl is monopolized by Luo He. If he was not a disciple of Emperor Chu, how could a Chaos Realm Transcendent dare to be so presumptuous with me? I will let him know the price of disrespect. As a member of the Two Realms Palace, the cloudy figure has been high and mighty in the origin continent for too long. Luo Feng's disrespect has already aroused his anger. But the master behind Luo Feng is Di Chu. He can only stay calm. Luo his latest complete intelligence? The figure in the mist immediately bought it. The purchase price of this complete intelligence was 100 million universe sands. He didn't care. Although he thought highly of himself, the complete intelligence of Yang Feng Club was still of great value. This complete intelligence included a battle that had just taken place. The Lord of Yuanxiu Mansion was the first to withdraw, all the clones of Yangsu were destroyed, the great sage Bian pierced the membrane of the dark world and fled. The Lord of Huangfeng City was trampled by Luo He with his bare hands, and Luo He chopped him into dozens of pieces with the blood shadow knife and put it away. Luo He is a direct disciple of Emperor Chu. He practiced the 3 fundamental ways of life, destruction and matter, combined the 3 fundamental ways, created his own method of body freezing, and reached the level of cosmic body. His Black River world, even the great sage Yangsu cannot break through. In his rolling Black River domain, the Lord of Desolate Wind City can only go with the flow and cannot be independent. The combination of the 3 origins of world, domain, long-range attack, close combat, and physical body makes him flawless in all aspects, which is the key reminder of Ce Tang's doubtful transcendence in the Chaos Realm. First, his physical body has a super life spirit, and every bit of flesh and blood can be transformed into an independent clone. The number of his clones is innumerable. Second, he can control a body that far exceeds the physical body of the Chaos Source bloodline in the Chaos Realm. He must have a spiritual will that far exceeds his peers. His spiritual will is at least the 2nd level of the God King realm. The more terrifying the body, the higher the mental will required to control it. Luo Feng's perfect divine body brought him a powerful soul, the 2nd level of Divine King's mental will combined with the legendary art. Just controlling 10 billion black rivers consumed more than half of his mental energy. The Yangfeng Guild Hall, who unexpectedly had a perfect divine body, determined that Luo Feng's mental will was at least at the 2nd level of the Divine King, which was already very accurate. Third, he reached the Chaos Realm's first-class strength without relying on the power of the Chaos Source, the Chaos Source materials, or the Chaos Source bloodline, but created his own body-refining secret method. With such high talent, it can be inferred that he will become a God King in the near future. Once he reaches the God King level, his strength will be comprehensively improved. Moreover, his master, Di Chu, will definitely do his best to kill Pei Luo in order to protect him. The figure in the mist understood the detailed information, which contained segments of images and a large amount of deduced information. Chaos Realm, at least the spiritual will of the 2nd level of the Divine King? The figure in the mist thought secretly, no wonder he could resist the guidance of the officials of the 2 realms. This Luo He is not just a difficult person. The figure in the mist looked at the information and understood this. Other Chaos Realm transcendents cultivated with the help of external objects, and their realm accumulation was not deep enough, so it was difficult for them to become God Kings. However, Luo Feng, who created his own body-refining method to become a Chaos Realm transcendent, had a deep accumulation, so he had a much better chance of becoming a God King. The years are long, and there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. The figure in the mist thought, once a big storm starts, even the emperor of the ancient country of Yangfeng and the monarch of the ancient country of Leitang will kill like crazy. At that time, in the vortex, a little push will be enough to plunge the Luo River into an endless abyss. This little guy has no idea how strong the undercurrent at the level of the God King will be. The figure in the mist smiled. Even now, Luo Feng didn't know who this strong man from the 2 realms palace was. This is also the terrifying thing about the 2 realms officials. They stir up trouble, but their identities are a mystery. Chuyu Mansion. Brother Luo He, you swept the other 4 and occupied the Blood Spirit Star alone. Chu Yuho naturally got the news from his friend at the first time, and this news made him a little confused. Exclusively occupy the Blood Spirit Star? Doesn't it mean that among the 3 subtasks of the heaven-level mission, he has already ranked first in one of the subtasks? And he is the first by a long way. What's going on? Chu Yuho immediately investigated, and soon he also bought the latest and complete information about Luo Feng. This complete information made Chu Yuho's tongue clone countless times. At least the spiritual will of the 2nd level of the God King? Self-created body refining method, with unbelievably high talent? Chu Yuho himself is also a Chaos Realm Infinite Divine Body expert, with great talent and good looks, so he is very clear about the meaning of these intelligences, that is, the first in the Chaos Realm Transcendence. And without the help of external objects. I chose a guest official in Jiang City, and he turned out to be so powerful. Chu Yuho himself couldn't believe it. When he first met Luo He was just the eternal true God. Chu Yuho quickly calmed down. Brother Luo He has leaked so much information, does he know it himself? Chu Yuho did not dare to retreat and immediately sent this information to Luo Feng. Aha, don't worry, some of the information was sold to Yangfeng Guild Hall by myself. Luo Feng responded. Luo Feng was also a little surprised when he saw this detailed information. Clone? Mind will? The deduction is quite complete. You think too highly of me. I actually did not practice the origin of matter. Luo Feng thought, this information is already very comprehensive, and almost all of my methods are recorded. Of course, there are some methods, such as the mind will to perform the Yuan technique, such as some abilities of the Star Tower, and some abilities brought by the perfect divine body. These Yangfeng Guild Hall may not think of them. Just as this information said, it is better to increase accumulation and become a God King as soon as possible. Luo Feng is very clear, realm is the root. Secret method is the branches and leaves. The higher the realm, the more powerful one's own methods will be. Ha ha ha, the information from Yangfeng Guild Hall is true. Emperor Chu looked at the information, his heart blossoming, extremely happy. My disciple Luo Feng is so talented that he has become the #1 Chaos Realm Transcendent with his own secret method. He is much stronger than other Chaos Realm Transcendents. Shenlan Qiyu, what does it mean that the Wushuang Pearl relies on external forces? For example, Chu Yuanhu is the strongest among the 7 first-class marquises, and he is expected to become a Chaos Realm Transcendent. But that is with the help of the Chaos Origin bloodline, and his own comprehension of the Great Tao is much weaker. Before, among a group of misfits, Emperor Chu was willing to train Chu Yuanhu. After all, in the lineage of Emperor Chu, there were only 2 people who had reached the Chaos Realm Transcendent before Luo Feng came. But now? With Luo Feng, Emperor Chu felt that the others were too ordinary. It was indeed very comfortable to have a genius disciple. This is called high talent. He became the first Chaos Realm Transcendent in a short time by himself. I believe it won't be long before he will become a divine king. Emperor Chu thought, I also have to find a way to plan some important resources for my disciples. The most important resources needed by the God Kings are not given by the ancestors of Yangfeng and Lei Mai, but by Yuan. Yuan treats the God Kings of the origin continent with good intentions, leaving many resources for them to compete, and those who are capable will naturally get more. The element technique is one of them. Yuan also knows that it is difficult to get started with the element technique, so he left many copies, and finally Luo Feng in the original universe practiced it. Once he practiced it, all other element technique carriers were destroyed. There are also many similar resources, or inheritance, or weapons and treasures, or opportunities. Those ancient beings can do this at all costs. Don't worry, plan slowly. Emperor Chu thought. This video will end here.